New York is Payne, the founder of the Agenda Project, a progressive organization. Okay, Erica, the numbers that came out today, the unemployment figures going up, more joblessness claims, 4,000 up last week, and we heard the Obama campaign come out and say, oh no, things are on track. Do you think people feel in the United States like things are on track?
I don't think they feel like they're on track. I think they feel like there's a lot of work left to be done, and there are a lot of people who aren't working who would like to be working. And so the real question you have to ask yourself is, are things better than they were? And do I believe that by doing the things that we're doing and some additional things, will they get better? Or if we switch tracks and move to Mitt Romney's plan and Paul Ryan's plan, will they get better? So you've just got to make a decision. And when Obama came into office, the month before he took office, we lost 750,000 jobs. In a month. I mean, that's a huge number of jobs. And so President Obama, the recovery has not been as fast as we would like it. It's not been as fast as he would like it. But more people are working. More people, we are slowly but surely moving in the right direction. And I don't know a lot of people right now who are sitting around having the panic attack that people were having 3 years ago when it sort of looked like the world was going to end to an extent when the economic crisis just blew up.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of polls that I've seen lately, and they're kind of temperature polls. How do you feel about America's future?
Right.
Do you feel like America's in decline? Do you feel like your kids are going to have a better standard of living? And aside from politics, R&D stuff,
right.
It seems like people are I think people are really anxiety-ridden. There might not be a sense of the sky is falling at the moment,
yeah,
but it's a kind of a sign of despair, and that's very different from the way Americans traditionally feel about their futures. They're looking for a brighter day, a morning in
right.
America, and that was kind of the hope and change thing with President Obama. Things were going to be better. The sky was going to part. The oceans were going to calm. And in fact, I mean, these numbers are devastating. I mean, we're looking at a fiscal cliff. If we reach this, which people like Howard Dean think we should go off, former DNC chair, and some in Congress also have said the same thing, we're seeing the CBO say this could be upwards of 9% unemployment. We could see GDP fall by 0.5%.
Right.
What happens to people then? If it's bad now, what is it going to be next year under President Obama's first year in his second term?
Yeah, I mean, going off the fiscal cliff, which is, as you know, Laura, is this what's happening at the end of the year with we'll hit another debt ceiling. We're going to have automatic sequestration, which is $1.2 trillion worth of cuts that are shared across domestic programs and defense, as well as the expiration of the Bush tax cuts. So if all of those three things happen at once, I think of it more like a Bermuda Triangle than anything else, you know, then potentially the whole U.S. economy gets sucked down the drain. So what we'd like to, I think all of us, you know, regardless of party, should be doing right now is telling our elected officials to get off their duffs and reach a compromise.
But President Obama could call an emergency meeting, not for his campaign, which I'm sure they have a lot of those, but emergency meeting for the country right now. I mean, he could suspend his campaign, say 24 hours, 48 hours, I'm not hitting the trail. Boehner, get back in town. Reid, I want to talk to you. Let's sit down. Let's get off the edge of this cliff for the betterment of the country.
Yeah.
I think people are hoping that politicians do that, and I think that's well within the president's reach. So you can blame Congress all you want.
He could call a meeting. I mean, the question is he going to call a meeting, and is anything going to happen in the meeting?
Well,
and there are a number of meetings that happen in Washington, as you know, every day, and not a lot of things happen. And one of the things that happened this year is you continually saw Tea Party Republicans, and keep in mind, this is not your normal middle-of-the-road Republicans. I grew up in North Carolina, grew up surrounded by Republicans, and lots of them just, you know, great people, and you can reach a good compromise with those people. But when you're talking about Tea Party Republicans who, number one, don't have any governing experience, number two, are not very well versed in economic issues, and number three,
come in as they're not very well versed in economic issues.
I mean,
I don't think we know President Obama's grades still from college, so I wouldn't talk about how many people are taking economics courses.
That the Tea Party believed that it was appropriate to mess around with the country's debt ceiling and thereby let all of our creditors know that we're not going to pay our debts, and for the first time in U.S. history have our credit rating downgraded. So any Tea Party Republican who made that choice made a bad decision.
The fact that the president hasn't met with really the leadership in his own party, which they've groused about, or the leadership in the Republican Party to come to terms, stop this fiscal cliff deal, that's the fault of the Tea Party? Now,
the people in the room who are not, well, I find it unfathomable too, to be honest. I mean, the people in the room who are not going to compromise are the Tea Party Republicans, and normal
Republicans
will
the president can run on
compromise.
that, but he can't run on that now because he's not talking to anybody.
Well, I mean, the president talks to people all day long, every day, but it's very clear from how the Tea Party has gone about doing their work in Washington since they came into office that they're not going to compromise.
All right, well,
and so that's just not going to happen.
Well, Eric Cantor came on my radio show last week. He said he hasn't had a substantive conversation with the president for over a year.
Eric Cantor hasn't said a substantive thing, nor has Paul Ryan in the last part of the year, and both of them have made it abundantly clear that they have no interest in reaching a compromise with even the moderate Republicans in their party, much less Democrats.
In Washington. Okay, they're not substantive people. Eric, thanks a lot.
Thanks so
directly
much.
ahead, a new poll shows Mitt Romney now